One airport, one deadly incident, two completely different stories. And now the truth, it has become a battlefield of its own. Ladies and gentlemen, the latest dispute, it involves Kuwait International Airport, basically a location that suddenly became the center of a global geopolitical controversy. The attack left one person passing away. In the meantime, dozens were injured. Important infrastructure was damaged. Airport operations, they were reportedly disrupted as emergency crew rushed to secure the whole area and assess the extent of the destruction here. Almost immediately, accusations began flying. Israel claims that the destruction, it was linked to a malfunction involving an American-made Patriot missile defense system. Here, the US says that this claim is completely wrong, false. According to the US Central Command, Iran carried out a deliberate drone attack. Washington insists that there was no malfunction at all. And in the meantime, Tehran rejects that explanation too. The world is definitely watching two competing narratives unfold. Who's telling the truth? Well, at this stage, investigators are still examining the whole evidence, but what makes this story so important is the timing. The region was already struggling to maintain a fragile ceasefire, right? This incident, it threatens to reignite tensions and undermine the ongoing diplomatic efforts. Well, it also raises questions about air defense readiness, regional security coordination, and the risk facing civilian infrastructure. Airports, they are not just transportation hub, are they? They are symbols of economic activity and international connectivity. So any attack on such a facility, it creates fear far beyond the immediate damage. And perhaps most importantly, it reminds us how quickly misunderstandings or maybe accusations, they can escalate into something much bigger. Because once trust disappears, diplomacy becomes much more harder. And yes, while Gulf tensions, they continue to rise, another incident has triggered outrage in Europe. Basically a ceasefire that had barely begun. It has struck a tragedy. Ladies and gentlemen, what happens when a senior advisor to Iran's supreme leader, he publicly tells America's allies not to trust Washington? Well, you get a statement that sends shockwaves across West Asia. And that is exactly what kind of happened this week. Mohsen Razi, one of Iran's most influential political figures and a long-time figure within Iran's security establishment, delivered some of the strongest warning heard since the tension escalated. Well, his message, it was directed at America's Gulf partners, the UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait, and others too. According to him, countries that supported Israel should not assume that the US will always protect them. Now, that statement alone, it attracted global attention because it directly challenges the security arrangements that have shaped the Gulf region for decades. But then came an even more controversial remark. He referenced sensitive territorial issues including Abu Dhabi and Kuwait, topics that government usually avoid discussing publicly, and suddenly what was already a tense regional atmosphere, that became even more uncomfortable. Why? Because territorial disputes, they are among the most sensitive issues in the international politics. Once they enter the public debate, emotions rise quickly and diplomatic relationships, they can become strained. In fact, he also claimed that if certain military actions had taken place inside Lebanon, Iran would have responded with overwhelming force. Now, whether that was a warning or maybe a prediction, that remains unclear, but one thing is certain. The language coming from Tehran this time, it is becoming increasingly aggressive. And the Gulf nations, they are paying very close attention here. Many of these countries host important American military facilities and play a very important role in global energy exports. Because in this region, words often carry strategic meaning. And yes, while political leaders exchange warning, another controversy is unfolding involving Kuwait, Iran, and the US. A controversy centered around a deadly airport attack.